Welcome to Project Pro Code Recipes. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do mean shift clustering as well as how to do DB-scan clustering in Python. So this is my code snippet over here. I have copied this code and I have pasted that in my Jupyter notebook. I'll explain to you the code over as well as run this for you. So let's get started. Now, what are clustering problems? So clustering is a class of unsupervised problems, unsupervised learning, machine learning. We all are familiar with supervised machine learning. We are provided with feature matrix as well as a target matrix, and we basically draw a conclusion, or we basically draw a function that can map this feature matrix to this target matrix. Now, in clustering problems, we are just provided with a data set with no target matrix, and we have to make clusters of that. So basically, we are differentiating the data set based on different methods. For example, sometimes we use density functions, like we try to differentiate functions based on clusters, that how closely these data points are related. Now, I have already made a video of k-means clustering. In this video, I'm going to show you about mean shift clustering. So, if you already have k-means clustering, then why do we need mean shift clustering? The problem with k-means clustering was it also took into account, as it is much more based on distance, so it took into account outliers too. And these outliers uh, uh, make my k-means clustering model prone to mistakes, as the outliers are going to lie too far to the centroid of the too far to the centroids that I have selected, and thus it affects, and when we calculate the distance, as it is too far from the centroid, it affects the calculations, and it also affects clustering. Now, this is a different method named as mean shift cluster. So what does mean shift cluster do? So mean shift cluster basically creates a kernel density function. So what is kernel density function? Uh, it draws a probability function in order to it draws a probability function first and then starts clustering. Now, how the probability function looks, let me show it to you. Now this is the probability function that my mean shift cluster first draws, and after that performs clustering. So you can see this is the first cluster, means like we can visualize that this is the first cluster, this is the second cluster, and this is the third cluster. So how these three clusters are drawn? As you can see, the shape suggests that it is a Gaussian normal distribution. This all looks like normal distribution. So basically, a Gaussian kernel function is used. The kernel function is simply the weighting function that we multiply with our data points in order to and then add them in order to make this probability density function. Now, after this, how does mean shift clustering work? So mean shift clustering basically takes the RBF function, that is radial basis function, circular, you can say circular boundary. It takes circular boundary, and then it starts shifting those circular boundaries. So you can see, you can just imagine uh, that this is a circular boundary that has been selected, and it keeps shifting this circular boundary. So right now my circular boundary was over somewhere over here. It starts shifting it, and it acquires some data, and as it starts shifting, the data point will as it starts shifting, the boundary, as the boundary starts shifting, or my circular function starts shifting, the data point will get inside these boundaries, and then it calculates the mean of any new acquired data point, and calculates the mean. And as the mean shifts, basically this is the condition, and as the mean shifts, the mean keeps on shifting. This means new data points are being acquired. So so we all know that there are different clusters, they are going to lie at some distance to each other. So there will come a region where there are no data points, and then the mean of the this mean of the data point that lie inside the circle will stop changing, and that is the point where my first cluster is formed. Then my second cluster starts, and then again my second cluster does the same thing. You can see there can be three different types of cluster. So if my consider my function reaches over here, now there are no data points over here, and if I shift my radial kernel to some extent, no data points will be acquired by this, and there will be no change in mean. thus my thus my first cluster is formed, and then my second cluster will start. So how does this cluster occur? So it takes a parameter named as bandwidth. So the bandwidth is basically, you can say, as we know, the bandwidth is the width of the kernel. So longer, so the bigger the kernel, the bigger your radial kernel is, the more distance it can travel at a time. So consider my radial function is not this big, but it is this big. But it is this big. So when I move this kernel, now, if I move this kernel a bit, move this bigger kernel a bit, it may cross this void region, and it will enter this region with some data points. So what will happen? I wanted it to shift, it to take slow steps, but it took big steps, and it shifted to a region of different cluster. But it doesn't know this because it only works on the principle that the mean shouldn't shift. So as I acquire new points again, the means will change. Thus, it will think that these two clusters are same, and it will keep on clustering. So so basically you need to uh, uh, adjust this bandwidth in order to get the required number of clusters. And how can you like detect that these are the optimum number of clusters? You can use a scatter plot. I will also show you how to use the scatter plot in order to detect the number of clusters, and it takes only one parameter, bandwidth. But the advantage of mean shift is you don't need to provide in k-means clustering. You needed to provide the number of clusters that you want. So basically, uh, you in this you give the command uh, to the machine, to the algorithm, in order to select the number of kernels. Sorry, in order to select the number of k-means. So let me show you. So this is the first code. Now let's walk you through the code. So from sklearn import data sets. From sklearn.preprocessing import standard scalar. You need to do standard scalar. So because when you are performing clustering, the distance affects your calculations a lot. So you need to perform standard scaling in order to uh, scale all the variables down to a single scale. Now cluster import mean shift, pandas for and sorry PD, pandas for data frame, seaborn as SNS, matplotlib for plotting the graphs. I'm using the iris dataset, so dataset.load iris. So you can see over here I'm not using the target data frame, I'm just using my dataset, my feature matrix. So core, so this will give me the correlation, and I'm visualizing the correlation using the heat map. Scalar standard scalar x underscore std scalar dot fit transform. So I've scaled my x, and then I'm initializing my mean shift function. After that, ct dot fit x underscore standard, and then I'm converting this fit model into sorry the predicted model into cluster, and I'll be using this so into a data frame named cluster, and we'll be using this cluster data frame in order to plot the graph for visualization. So you can see these are all the codes over here. Now let me run this. So this is the correlation heat map. So you can see the correlation between these are the correlation between different features. So there were basically four features. The correlation between one and you can say okay, 2 is very less, is around minus 0.5 or something. The correlation between 3 and 2 is very high, is around 0.8 or 0.9. So this is the correlation matrix, and this is so they are much more likely to lie close to each other. Now this is the mean shift clustering. So initial bandwidth is 2, I guess, the default bandwidth. Now if I change the band, so you can see as I change the bandwidth, the number of clusters increased. Initially there were 2 clusters, now there are 4 clusters. So basically, it you are in charge of the bandwidth. You need to hyperparameter tune it to get the best result. Let me check it with 1.5. Now they have